to order. We'll have a roll call, and then we'll have public recognition. Beverly Hyde, Diane Johnson, Beth Key, Debbie Martin, Joanna Daniels, Ruth Fennell, Jackie Wilbur. So we're all here, and we have a quorum. Okay, the next thing on the agenda is public recognition. You have 3 minutes to speak, and then we will move on into the rest of the meeting. And the first speaker I have is Gabby Cato.
Hi. Earlier today, do you want me to say my address and stuff, or is that just for big meetings?
Just say Gallatin Public Library.
I'm the director of the Gallatin Public Library. Earlier today, I sent a letter to the library board in regards to the interactions between Diane and myself, and I have apologized. If you will please let me know if you have seen it or not, and I have physical copies with me today to hand out if you haven't. In the letter that Diane sent March 24th, she claims that I was incompetent in regards to payroll. At the time the incident occurred, I had not received any training on payroll and had not yet learned how to handle staff changes on payroll. Having just recently stepped into my current leadership role, I obviously depended too heavily on April Mangrum to look over my submissions. As can be discovered via public records request, I offered to personally pay the money back that was paid to Mildred after she passed away, but I was told I would not be allowed to do so. Since that incident, I have worked extremely closely with Tony Weston on every payroll submission to ensure accuracy. I have given almost 8 years of my life to serving this community at our library, and I hope to continue to do so for many years, and I thank all of you for your time and consideration.
Okay, our next speaker is Dr. Judy Bivens. Hey, it's good to see you.
How are you?
Doing well.
I'm Dr. Judy Bivens. I'm the Director of Library Science at Trevecca University. And I would like to speak in behalf of Gallatin Public Library. I've been an advocate since 1969 when I taught English and walked my students from the old high school to the old Gallatin Library. And I was an integral part of the planning committee that began in 2007 with Reggie Mudd and others who were an important part of the community. And as we planned the library, we looked at what ALA would require for a library facility. I was a part of working on programming, thinking about what a community needed, what the participants of all ages, young, old, diverse. I want to say that I've kept a close handle on what's been going on at the public library because I invested a lot of time in working and planning and developing what would be our new facility. And I can say it's amazing. Everything we talked about, community outreach, access to materials, programming, everything we planned and dreamed about has been happening. Thank you, Gabby.
Thank you, Ms. Judy. The next speaker is Linda Daniels.
My name is Linda Daniels, and I'm president of the Friends of the Gallatin Public Library. I've lived in Sumner County for almost 48 years. 25 years of that I spent in the public education system, 4 years as an elementary teacher, and the last 21 years as an elementary school librarian. I know the importance of school and public libraries, and I know that I have personally worked with Gabby ever since she came to work at the Gallatin Public Library. I have never seen a person who loves a job as much as she does. She is the heart of the Gallatin Library, and she works hard to ensure that her staff and volunteers are well trained and well prepared to meet the needs of the Gallatin community. This is the calendar of events for the summer. It's chock full of things to bring people into the public library. It's amazing. Gabby's love for her job at the Gallatin Library is contagious, and you can just ask anyone who walks in the doors of our library and they will tell you that. We have been informed that a letter is going to be presented to this board today to ask that Gabby Cato be fired from her job. My question is why? Why would this board want to fire someone who works so hard and is so dedicated to their job? Gabby is passionate about her job, and she is passionate about protecting her staff. People have different personalities, and some might see her passion for her job as being disrespectful, while others might see it as a way of her protecting her staff. I have a copy of the letter here with me. I'm sure you all have seen it. The letter was dated March 24th, but Gabby just found out about this letter yesterday. And I wonder why that is. Why was she not allowed to address the claims that were made against her? The week prior to this event, Susan was accused of fraud while still working as bookkeeper of the dissolved library system. On March 22nd, Susan was transferred to the Gallatin Library in a part-time position because she was told she was going to lose her job as a full-time bookkeeper with the dissolved library system. She was given a part-time position at Gallatin so that she could continue to work while she was trying to pay for treatments for her breast cancer. She was losing her benefits when she lost her full-time position. The event on the 24th was in part Gabby trying to protect Susan while maintaining personal private information such as staff social security numbers. She also asked that the board chairperson be present when the documents were turned over. Following this event, Ms. Cato checked with legal, finance, and HR to find out what the rules were in regard to the release of the documents. And she was told that the library board has access to these documents on their bill paying website and that they were allowed to have privy to them. Gabby has apologized to this board and to the individual members for anything that she may have said or done that was perceived as being belligerent or disrespectful. Sometimes in the midst of a confrontation, things are said on both sides that are not productive. She is willing to do whatever she needs to do to keep her job, and we as the Friends of the Gallatin Public Library and the community support her completely. An excellent library begins with a director who seeks excellence in herself and her staff. A director who supports her staff and is willing to work hard to create an environment that is enjoyable, productive, and caring. Gabby Cato has done this in the Gallatin Public Library. It will be a grave miscarriage of justice if we allow her passionate protection of her staff as a reason for her to be removed from her position. I would like to think that we all would like to work for a person like Gabby Cato.
Ms. Linda. Thank you.
Thank you.
Point of order, can we clarify something? Because to my knowledge, we're not trying to fire anybody today.
No.
Okay,
It's
so
just
can we,
a letter on performance.
Okay, can we make sure to clarify that
But
that
it's a
is,
letter on
there is
performance.
nothing about that today that's being talked about today, correct? Am I correct?
Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
And I do have a copy of the letter if we need to see that or whatever. Okay, the next speaker is Mary Teresa Ball.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mary Teresa Ball, and I have lived in Gallatin for 35 years. My husband's family has been here since the 1850s. We have been active members of the library during the whole time we've been here. We've helped raise money to build the new library that is now standing on our square. We are very proud of it. I have been a member of the Friends, participating and helping with the library for many, many years, and helping with its programs personally, with its activities personally. I've been in the library personally. I interact with the staff and with the various directors that we've had personally for many years. Gabby Cato is not only good, she's the best. I've interacted with library staff and with library directors. They have been mostly good. She's been the best. She not only is competent and creative, she is kind and generous to a fault. And with all the varied and sometimes challenging library patrons we serve, she is uniformly gentle, kind, and patient. She is both firm and kind with her staff. I observe this. She's very welcoming. She's very considerate and professional with official and unofficial visitors and those up the corporate ladder. She has contagious enthusiasm and love of her work and tackles enormous tasks with energy and creativity, as can be seen if you look at the monthly programs that she does. The staff shortages that she is required to face force her to learn quickly and handle multiple tasks efficiently, quickly, and timely, sometimes without training. She's done this with patience. I have seen her communicate, interface, and speak with people my father would say would try the patience of Job, and always with care, respect, and patience. I have never seen her in any way disrespectful of anyone in the many years I have been there. I have never seen her angry or raise her voice to any person, however much it may have been deserved. She is one of the most trustworthy and ethical people I've had the privilege of knowing. Gabby is also respectful and caring of staff and people's privacy and does not hand out information unless she's sure it's okay. She's always concerned about safety and her staff's well-being and tries to assure that none of them are ill-treated by anyone. She's loved and respected by all the patrons of the library, including the hundreds of children and their parents, seniors, teens, her staff, and us average adults who are the beneficiaries of her knowledge, talent, creativity, efficiency, and kindness. She is a great contributor to our Gallatin and Sumner County community, and it would be a tragedy to lose her.
Thank you. The next speaker is Paul McCoy.
Hello.
Hello.
I know a couple of you. It's good to see you. Those of you who don't know me, my name is Paul McCoy. I'm the Deputy Director of Grants and Public Programs for Humanities Tennessee. We're a statewide nonprofit dedicated to humanities education for the general public of the volunteer state. And I live at 1042 Lafitte Way, Gallatin, Tennessee. My family and I have been Tennesseans for more than 20 years. And we lived in Gallatin for the last 4. This is where we plan to raise our son. This is now home, and we care deeply about the friends and neighbors that we have met who make up our community here. I have no doubt each of you feel the same about this community. That's why you serve on that board. And that's why when I began looking for ways to serve my community, with my background, my skills, and my professional experience, where they might be of use, I found my way to the local library in Gallatin. I walked around, I got my library card, and I found there was a room upstairs named for my late friend Walter Durham. Some of you knew. I knew him as the state historian. He was a colleague and a board member of the nonprofit where I've worked for 19 years. And he was the first person I ever knew from the Gallatin community, and he was a shining example. He loved the Gallatin Library, and maybe the Gallatin Library was a place where I could be of service too. So long story short, I joined the Friends of the Library, and my first job as a new friend had nothing to do with my professional background. I wasn't asked to write or review a grant or evaluate a policy or plan a public program, market to a new audience, or consult on nationwide trends in arts and humanities programming. No, my first job was to pass out cookies at the Christmas open house. And it turns out that was the best thing that could have happened. Because one thing I know after 20 years of working for nonprofits, libraries, museums, and others across this state and across the country is that if you want to get to know a place, volunteer, and do something useful that allows you to listen to what's happening around you and watch. Here's what I saw. I saw an incredibly diverse cross-section of this community come together in unity. I saw children learning, and I saw a staff of public servants and volunteers working tirelessly and together for their constituents. And at the center of it all, I saw Gabby Cato. And she not only had a smile for everyone that walked through the door, she knew them and they knew her, and if not for the first time, she knew their name by the end of the night, and they knew hers, and she kept the plates spinning smoothly throughout the evening with seemingly effortless grace. Never underestimate what you can learn by passing out cookies. As a public programmer, I know what it takes to put on those events. An entire summer of reading programs, art shows, book signings, children's programming, and a laundry list of community events in this library, and she's responsible for creating and hosting all of those. Very few people can do this well. Vanishingly few people can do this work and earn the degree of respect and admiration that Gabby Cato has obviously earned from all of us and everyone in her community. Since that open house, I've worked with Gabby and other friends. We worked on grant opportunities and we've been successful, but that success has little to do with anything that I or others brought to the table. It has to do with the steady leadership that she's provided. And I've seen firsthand the professionalism, the wisdom, the insight, and the ability that she commands. And I've noted the regard and respect with which she holds her staff. And likewise, they her. I'm almost done. And I'm proud to work with her, and I'm proud of the work she's leading. I want to publicly thank her for her service to this community, her vision and exceptional leadership. And I would ask you to consider the needs of the community that Gallatin Public Library serves. We're telling you what we want. We're telling you who we need. Please listen to us.
Thank you. Please remember that it's a 3-minute time limit, so make your point and so we can move on. The next speaker is Tammy Hawks.
Hi, Tammy Hawks, a resident of Gallatin and a friend of the library. And I just want to commend Gabby Cato, the Gallatin Library Director. Gabby's love for the people she serves is evident, and she's passionate about her job. She understands the unique needs of the people of Gallatin and works tirelessly to make sure that the patrons of the library are offered the services they need. She and her staff make sure the library is a positive and welcoming place for everyone. And I would like to thank her for her good work that she does for her community.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Madeline Lindsay.
Welcome back. I'm Madeline Lindsay, and I live in Gallatin, Tennessee. I've been a weekly volunteer at the Gallatin Library since 2019 and a member of the Friends of the Library for the last 3 years. Over this time, I have come to know Gabby and agree with all the previously spoken kind and positive words that have been said about her already today, so I'm not going to reiterate. Over this last year, I've also had the opportunity to observe and watch her grow in her new leadership role as director of the library. That's not to say that everything is perfect, that she's perfect, but then none of us are perfect. I now wish to direct my comments to the letter written by Diane Johnson to the Sumner County Library Board. In item number 1 in the letter, this occurred over a year ago. Not last month, not 6 months ago, but over a year ago. And it was addressed and taken care of at that time. So therefore, I feel it's a moot point. I feel it was very inappropriate to be brought up again by Ms. Johnson. I would add that Ms. Johnson was not on this library board at the time that that took place. So I realized she didn't know about it or know that it had been addressed, but I still feel that it should not have been brought up again. Since Gabby has apologized in her letter to each of you on the board, I am not going to go into explaining my feelings about items number 2 and number 3 from the letter written by Ms. Johnson. I do want to add and close with that Gabby is a very competent director at the Gallatin Library. I understand that personalities can often bring about conflict, which I think there's been a personality conflict possibly between Ms. Johnson and Gabby. But that doesn't mean that healing cannot come about through better communication and working with one another. And of course that starts with an apology, which has been given. Finally, I believe that if this letter is going to be placed in her personnel file, then I certainly hope that her letter of response will also be placed in her file. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Christine. Christine Bernard.
Hello, I'm Christine Bornan.
Sorry.
That's fine. I moved to Sumner County in 1998, and I joined the board of the Friends of the Gallatin Public Library in 2013. It is in that capacity that I am here today. I have known Gabby to be a stalwart and passionate advocate of the library and its programs, the library employees, volunteers, and patrons, as well as the community of Gallatin and Sumner County. I do not believe that it is in the best interest of the libraries, the staff, volunteers, patrons, or the community it's not in our best interest for her to be terminated from her current position. Thank you.
The next one is Laura Burt.
Hi, my name is Laura Burt, and I'm also a resident here at Gallatin, and I also work part-time for the Gallatin Library and have for 3 years. So on behalf of the staff, I am going to say that everything that everybody has said about Gabby and the way she treats us and loves us is extremely accurate. She is the epitome of boss. She gives us our own opportunity to use our own creativity and individual gifts, and that is just so appreciated. So, and I know our patrons feel exactly the same way. She loves our patrons, and our patrons love her. And I just wanted to say that we are in total support of her and cannot imagine our library without her.
Thank you. The next speaker is Mary Bright Young.
Hello, I'm Mary Bright Young, and I may even top Teresa on longevity because I've lived in Gallatin all of my many years and have been a library patron, as was my mother and so forth. There was a picture years ago of my mother and myself and my child sitting at the library desk at the old library. I've been a member of the board since 1998, and as such also have observed all of the growth and the wonderful way that the Gallatin Library has evolved and changed, and not only is our board very diverse in our backgrounds and also how long we've lived in the area, but also the clientele and the people that the library reaches out to. It touches everyone's life. And the passion that Gabby and all of the library staff have exhibited toward people have just made it a shining beacon and light in the community. We are proud of the Gallatin Library, and we are proud of Gabby and all that has improved and taken place during those years since 1998 and before. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And the last speaker is Allie Corson.
I'm Allie Corson. I live in Gallatin. I've lived here for 2 years. I've lived in Sumner County for 15 years. I used to live in Andersonville. I've been a teacher for 20 years, teaching English. I have my degree in English literature, and I've been a library lover since I could walk. I started working for Gabby in April about 2 years ago, in a part-time position, and I've seen the library grow since Gabby has gotten her leadership role. I've seen the programs develop, and I want to give you a personal example of something. Servant isn't a word that people like to use about themselves. People don't like to say, I am a servant, okay? Typically, they don't. As a teacher, that was something I always try to keep in mind. I'm serving my students, and Gabby is the one boss I've ever had with 5 principals, six principals, 2 librarians, and numerous other jobs throughout my life. She's the one person who has ever said to me, and all of us, we are servants. Do not forget, we are servants of our community. She focuses on this herself. She doesn't put herself above any of us except for when she tells us what to do, and then we go, oh yeah, okay, you're the boss. But I respect her, and I can only work well for bosses that I respect. So even if I was to disagree with something, I respect her enough that I would still, you know, I understand that bosses have to make choices that I don't know about. But she is a servant of this community in every possible way. And I also can tell you from having lived in Hendersonville and Gallatin, the Gallatin needs more servants. Gallatin needs more servants than Hendersonville or maybe any other village or city in the county, okay? Economically, we are underserved in Gallatin. And Gabby is literally the leading servant of this community. So I just want you to keep that in mind as you are figuring out whatever it is you're figuring out. Thank you.
Thank you. If somebody did come in late, if there's someone who would like to speak and didn't get to sign the page, let me know. Okay, we're gonna close this part of the public recognition part of our agenda and move on to the business at hand. The next thing on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. So I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
I move to amend the agenda.
It's special.
Special, okay, so I can't
It
amend
must be confined to the call of the meeting.
What?
The agenda must stay as it is, as per the call of the meeting.
Okay.
Okay, so do I have a motion to approve the meeting, to approve the agenda?
Yeah.
Debbie, and then Diane seconds. Because I was looking at Ray.
You're okay.
Okay, all in favor of approving the agenda,
Aye.
raise your hand or say aye.
Aye.
No, do I have a no?
I guess approve it, because I have to.
Okay, okay. So it's unanimous. So we'll move on to the budget report and the budget process. Do I need a motion to get the report on the floor? Do I need a motion to get the report?
Motion to discuss.
To discuss. I need a motion to discuss the budget process. Diane, do I have a second? Ruth seconds. Okay.
All budgets have been turned in and they have been entered into the financial system as submitted. They have come back to us. The directors have all reviewed their budgets and I have not heard any concerns, so we will accept that they are correct as submitted. Our meeting will be on May the 4th at 3:30 to go before the county budget committee to have them reviewed and approved or subsequently changed by the budget committee. So that is our next step at this point, is May the 4th.
Okay.
Do you also want me to talk about these budget transfers?
Do you want to do that now?
Yes, as part of the budget
Except for the
process.
very last transfer, and
Yes.
it's later on in
Yes.
the agenda.
Yes. Yesterday, I sent out some budget transfers, as well as there's a packet here today. We're gonna talk about the first two sheets. There was, for some reason, a little bit of money left over in the library system, probably with all the pages that got submitted, something got overlooked. There was $2,544 left. I have moved that money. This does not have to go before the budget committee for review. It is not salary related. I have moved the different increments into electricity. I know a lot of the libraries did not get as much electricity or utilities as they had originally asked when we did this before. And I do apologize, the one says data processing and that's actually electricity. And I'll correct that before these get sent.
So
The only-
that would be electricity for Westmoreland?
Yes, yes. The only extra one is an extra $200 in gasoline that'll go to Gallatin, and because they're the only one that has the mobile library, and with the cost of gas, that might help them get through the rest of the year. So this will zero out, except for a few cents here and there that finance asked me to not try to submit a budget transfer for 24 cents. The next sheet on your list or in your packet is all of it's not all of the remaining, but a lot of it, of the medical and benefits benefits that are on the first one, that are in the library system account. I was asked to wait until now to transfer these out. So because of the 3 full-time positions, 2 going to Hendersonville and 1 going to Westmoreland, this will be the numbers that finance gave me that need to be transferred to each of those libraries for medical, dental, TCRS, Social Security, Medicare, and life insurance. And those are all identified right there. So this will have to go to the budget committee in May. So some of the libraries potentially could run in the negative until May, but accounting knows that this is coming. So these 2 sheets need to be approved. Again, the first sheet does not have to go to the budget committee. The second one, since it is salary related, does need to go to the budget committee in May.
So I need a motion to approve the first 2 budget transfers in your packet.
Okay.
Joanna, and then Ruth seconds.
I will go ahead and forward this over
Need to
to
have a
accounting.
vote.
and
Need a vote.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're good. The motion passes.
And I'll go ahead and send these over to finance so that the one can get made immediately and the other one will get put on the agenda for May's budget committee.
One's got the transfer.
And that's the end of my report.
Okay, so, and the next item is the letter from the mayor of Hendersonville. So I need to get it on the floor for discussion. Do I have a motion?
Yes.
Diane makes the motion.
I'll second.
And Ruth seconds. Okay. Mayor Clary from Hendersonville sent me an official letter, and I sent you copies. And it's just to let us know that the city council voted to add $5,000 to the city's appropriation to the library. This is to finish this year.
Yes.
And he wants Henderson, and the board provides $50,000 to start with, and this is going to be in addition to that, what they're already giving us. This is extra. But he wants the library to be open on Fridays. And we need to act on this letter, but if you've got a copy of it, there are a couple things in there I think you'll want to discuss. So it's now on the floor for discussion.
Unfortunately, I didn't bring my copy.
No, I did not.
I have the official copy
Okay.
right here. I will be glad to share.
Unfortunately, we both missed it, so, okay.
Yeah.
Our board was pleased to provide $50,000 to the library.
Do we need to make a motion for discussion?
Do we have
already
it?
did.
We've got it on
We've
the
already
floor
got it
for
on the
discussion,
floor.
yes. We're just,
If I can just add a couple of comments to that.
Yeah.
One of the glaring things in there says that the county will match the $5,000. We want to strike that sentence. There is money by dividing the payroll dollars, that there is money now to support that Friday opening already, so we're not gonna go back to the county.
we're not gonna ask
And ask
money.
for additional funds. The other issue that was brought up at the Monday Budget Committee was, well, will this affect MOE if we choose not to, if the city would choose not to fund it next year? Because they have not approved that because they've not gone through. However, when I spoke to Mayor Clary, he had no concerns. If we have concerns, we could go back to Mayor Clary and say that we want to start this with the new fiscal year, not right now. He's very anxious for the library to get open. The patrons are been asking for it for years. But if we have a target date, then we don't have to have concerns about meeting MOE, because if we add 5,000 to Hendersonville and they don't spend it the way it's been planned, then because we don't get the money next year, then we're $5,000 over. However, the 5,000 is only, as you said, for this last quarter. Because of all of the ups and downs going on right now at HPL, you know, they are interviewing, but I don't know exactly when they will get those people hired. Those people, the 2 full-time and 3 part-times, will get hired with the understanding that they will work on Fridays, if that goes to that. So that's not a concern about having staff. But if you feel more comfortable, because the 20,000 that would be given year after year after year, raising our 50, which has always been earmarked for books, plus this additional 20, which will go into supporting the Friday opening. If you feel more comfortable about waiting until that gets through their budget process, then we could go back to him and say that. However, they were hoping that we would prove that we will be open on Friday so that then they feel comfortable about passing the 20,000 in their budget. So there's some things to think about.
So it's a chicken and egg.
It is.
Okay.
But in either regard, there is staff that can support the Friday opening.
Effective now or when those positions get filled?
If we say that, well, when the
positions are gonna be,
get-
I mean, they're
But they're,
advertised. and
yes,
gonna
but they're
be filled.
interviewing for them right now.
Right.
So there's not
Uh-huh.
staff today.
No,
Okay.
so, and you're looking at, this is April, so, you know, that's a process. So I would think the 1st of May would be the optimistic first part, you know, and I'm
Yes, and
extremely
then-
optimistic, but you know,
And then I think that 5,000 would get prorated because it was prorated to
Yeah.
be open
April,
April, May, and June.
yeah.
So we would go back and ask for that to be reproportioned.
Joanna?
Yes. So, so I have a concern about the employees. And here, when I spoke with the previous director and the interim director right now about employees and having staffing, both had concerns. And the concerns were that if they get fully staffed and get all of the people that they want in right now, that it'll be excellent for them because they'll actually be able to staff every place in the library fully and be able to give full staffing and serving the public. Also, you know, if someone takes vacation or if somebody calls out sick, such as right now we had someone out for 2 weeks because her daughter got into a fluke accident. And I know that the interim director, I'm getting sound effects while I'm talking right now. And so she was understaffed, and I understand they're understaffed right now, but there is concerns that it would be really stretching the staff thin, and that it might affect the excellent, you know, how they're serving the public right now, such as right now they have to have floaters, you know, go from circulation or go here or there. If they were able to get everybody in right now and not have the 6th day, they would be fully staffed and no problems. But adding that 6th day could cause a strain on the employees and staffing.
And that, this doesn't, to my knowledge, this letter doesn't say how many hours on Friday. I mean, and the ideal would be your 8 hours. But in my conversation with Mayor Clary, I said, what about 4 hours instead of the 8? And he said, I would consider any hours at all a win-win. So that could be on the table as well.
Right, and when I spoke to the interim, Alicia, you know, when we talked about Friday, I think she's expecting it to happen. And also, we also talked about the fact that we were not going to do any programs whatsoever on Friday, that unless we saw that we could later on, but we weren't going to start something and then have to pull it back. And so right now, it would just strictly be a day to service the patrons, service the kids that got assignments that have to be turned in, new projects that they need to come in and get books before the weekend. And so it would strictly just be kind of a plain day, if you will. And it might even not have as much staff as what you might normally have when you have programs going on. A lot of the staff has been extremely cross-trained to work in all different areas, so that it really supports the staff. You do have shortages from time to time, even when you're open 5 days. I mean, we had a staff member that, like Joanna said, her daughter was in a car accident. At the same time, we ended up with an employee that had COVID, all out of the same department. So thank goodness that we were able to kind of float. So, you know, this doesn't have to happen. We can go back to Mayor Clary. I do know that the patrons have asked for this for years. along with the mayor. So I do think it's something that we need to consider and then decide yes or no.
If I could interject.
Mr. Eric?
This goes a little deeper than that. I know nobody likes it when an attorney starts interjecting, but you've got some issues here. This is a promise to make a promise, basically. We've got nothing concrete saying there'll be
You don't
continued
have the resolution in
investment.
hand.
We got them saying we're gonna match. This is budget and
Yeah.
finance stuff. Are we gonna take on employees that if they stop, all of a sudden we've got a new obligation? So there's gonna need to be some more back and forth, I think, between finance and the budget committee
I
on
agree.
this, and
Did I send you a copy of that?
I did not get this, no.
Okay, I apologize, I thought that.
Well, let me rephrase it. If you did, I didn't see
It's
it,
been
and
a
that's
while.
very possible
It's been,
too.
I mean, it's
Uh,
dated a couple of months ago, it's been a while.
But
thought
I
did.
just wanna throw all that out there because
Right.
there's really a lot going on here.
Right. I want to definitely strike the sentence that that even entertains the expectation. of
And it may
matching
even
funds.
require a resolution with the commission and the city of
Right, yeah,
Hendersonville. So-
right.
Right, and that's why I mentioned that,
You know.
because there isn't the promise in that letter that the 20,000 will come, just because Mayor Clary said that he expects no problems, doesn't mean that we have it until we have it.
And we don't even have a copy of the resolution that promises the 5,000.
You don't trust a politician?
I didn't say that.
I didn't say that.
Did you?
So we can table it at the budget committee on Monday night. This topic was
If
tabled.
they have discussed it, they are aware of it, so.
But I also mentioned at that time that, that one sentence needs to be stricken from his letter. And also, this is only for the 5,000 right now, because they're in their budget process just like we are.
I think I would feel a whole lot more comfortable if we had a decision on a director, had all of our people hired, so that we wouldn't have throw something else at them, because that library has had so much to deal with.
Right.
And I personally, even though I live in Hendersonville, I think the hours would be great, but I think the timing is off.
I think that we also need to look at, one, we don't have the resolution, but also, I know that Hendersonville has an HVAC issue that's gonna cost a lot of money to fix at some point in time. I know they've been having problems with that. And then the cost of utilities, is just going up further and further. And so, I just think that we have to be careful of that. And then also, when I did talk to Alicia, she printed me out like 2 different ways that they could do the scheduling, and she was concerned, and that's, so yeah, so.
So with this letter, it's on the table for discussion. The budget committee is aware of it and that sort of thing. Would you feel comfortable if, as Alicia interviews for new positions, at least put a bug in their ear that you may have to work on Friday?
I wouldn't, because I don't want that to be something that either someone's thinking about those hours, or it being a deterrent because they don't want to work those hours. Does that make sense? So I would.
But then you don't want to pull it on them later that, well, you're
Well, the
hired for
flip
these
side
hours
is-
and, now you've got to work Friday
Right.
and you lose them. But if you've given them a heads up and they understand what might happen. I'd rather have all of it in front of me.
I think the most realistic thing is to say that it's being considered and to let people know that that is an
Yeah,
option
give 'em
at
a
some
heads
point.
up. Yeah,
But there's
because-
nothing firm about it, and just,
Right,
make
if
sure
you
they're not.
hire
I think if you put it in that way of
Yeah.
look, this is not even this, we haven't voted on this.
Right. But it is being discussed.
I think it's just fair in an interview to say right now the schedule is, you know, we know that it's the 5 days, and we're looking at adding the 6th day, and that may happen.
Debbie?
I just want to reiterate what Beverly said. I think that is just very important that we just pause. And even throwing it out there leaves you hope that there could be a chance that you get more hours or have more things. She's got a lot to deal with right now, and hiring and interviewing. And right now, I think that is what needs to have her focus and her attention.
I agree.
And then later on, if we, I mean, that's just icing on the cake. That's a bonus if you can have more hours, if you can have another day. But for her, right now, I think
She's got a lot on her plate.
Okay.
I agree.
So, I will entertain a motion to table it, you know, put it in the folder to be considered. However, budget wants to handle it next month.
We'll just table it again.
And
Make a
then,
motion to
and
table.
it's there.
For a
Okay,
motion
Debbie
to-
has a motion
To kill it
table.
and come back
Yeah.
later.
Yeah.
However they want to do it.
Debbie made a motion to table
To table.
the
Yes.
consideration of the Hendersonville letter.
Yeah.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Joanna, seconds.
Vote on
Vote
it.
on
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed? Okay, moving on to Personnel Committee. The first item on there is we need at least one member. Ruth has volunteered, so I'll entertain a motion to, or I just get to add, don't I? I mean, I appoint the committees, and then you all can, okay.
And I
So-
asked to be on personnel.
Okay, and Debbie on the Personnel Committee. And as of right now, I'm still ex officio of all of them under the current bylaws. So, okay, okay.
Yeah.
So I have Ruth and Debbie. Do I have a motion to approve Ruth and Debbie being added to the Personnel Committee? Okay.
Second. A second.
I had
Diane.
Diane
Yeah,
and
okay.
I had Beth.
Okay.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
So
Okay.
it's, and then it's me and Beverly.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
There's
Uh-huh.
4 in the next position.
Okay, the next item is job descriptions, and that's going to go to Personnel Committee. We've already got job descriptions, they've been posted for everything except the director of Hendersonville. I do have an envelope I will share with the Personnel Committee that Cecile from Red River sent me of job descriptions of Stokes Brown's in there. I think Rutherford County may be there, several county jobs, if you want to take a look at those
Yeah.
before we post that.
Yeah.
But they are very similar to what we have, so it's not gonna be a really hard thing to do. We just need to get it considered, get it posted as quickly as possible, so that we can move on.
Is that for the director one?
This, yes.
Yes, okay.
Well, in this packet, I have all the ones for Sumner County, but the
Right.
ones from the other places are for the directors.
Okay.
Yes, Joanna?
Should we just set a date for the Personnel Committee to meet right now?
We can
Or-
do that.
Okay, since all 4 of us are here.
Are here.
And-
You can decide on the date to meet. And then we could, you know, Hendersonville, we could probably get a room there.
Mhm.
You know, there are other places, or we could go to wherever is convenient for everybody. Hendersonville seems to have worked with us really well in the past.
Yeah,
so.
because it has more meeting rooms and everything like
Mhm.
that. So, I move to set a time for Personnel
Okay.
Committee to meet.
Okay.
She makes a motion.
Okay, she's got a
Makes
motion.
Yes.
Second.
I'm looking, okay, Beverly second.
Okay.
Okay. So what are you thinking, Joanna? Or Beverly, or anybody? Is it gonna work with your schedules?
How does, do Tuesdays and Wednesdays work for you ladies?
Afternoon.
Afternoon? Yeah.
Later the best for me.
Later the best? How about you?
Either.
Beverly?
Well, what time are you talking about?
Mhm.
Afternoons?
Because, I
Okay.
was gonna
You
say
said
that,
morning or?
Uh, Well,
No,
I know
days.
she needs
Yeah.
afternoons. What about the 25th? It's a Tuesday at, say, 3:30? Is 3:30 a good time? No?
I may be out of town that week.
Oh, that week, okay.
Yeah, so I could do pretty much any time next week, if that is an option for the group, but.
Is next week rough on you?
Yeah.
Okay, we can do the first week of May.
Yes,
Let's
that
do
would be great.
the first week of May.
Well, now they will be tied up, what is it, the 4th in budget, which
Yeah, but I'm
is
not
a
on
little
that
bit of
committee.
a,
I'm not
Well,
on
she's
that.
budget.
yeah, but Debbie is. But she's,
Well, the
yeah.
2nd of May, which is a Tuesday.
Yeah, second.
Okay.
Second's good. And
That
even
is
if we're
the board
doing
meeting.
May 2nd, I
Mhm.
could do earlier.
Okay.
They should be out, so.
Okay.
Okay.
So if we wanna if we wanna do
Beverly?
morning, then I'll come in.
What works for you on May 2nd?
What time are y'all talking about? I was trying to look at this calendar.
Do you guys want to?
Debbie said she could do a morning,
morning.
that
Okay.
on a Tuesday morning,
Morning
the
would be
2nd.
better.
Okay, all right. We're doing May.
We could.
Well, what's morning to you? So-
11 o'clock. No.
Okay, that sounds good. I was gonna say that, actually.
Bring lunch.
How about we do 11 and bring a lunch?
That's fine.
Does 11 work for you? Does 11 work for you?
That's 11. I mean, I would like to see it earlier, only just
yeah,
because I think there's gonna be a lot to go over. And
Because Debbie, you gotta
You
go
gotta
into
go to
work,
work,
right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Well,
That's fine, I can get up early.
you want to do, okay, what about 10:30?
That's fine.
Is that better, or, I'm trying
What
to.
about dinner?
What about 10 o'clock?
Okay, 10
Let's
o'clock.
do 10
I'm like
o'clock.
trying to figure out.
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry. Let's do 10
All right,
o'clock.
so 10 on the
May
2nd.
Okay.
All right, and I'll talk with Alicia, find a room. Does that sound okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. All right. And that's personnel. Okay. Okay, awesome.
Okay, so we can move on. The next item is the letter that has been addressed by our audience. I had a copy of the letter, I've got it here. Do I have a motion to get it on the floor for discussion?
What are we discussing?
What to do with it? You requested it be put in her file when you sent it to Cheryl. So we have to do something with
And
it.
then I retracted that.
It
Because-
needs to be opened up for discussion first. If it
Because
does,
we
if
said
nobody
that-
moves
yeah,
to
we
do
have-
it, then we don't talk about it.
Okay? All right. So it will not go in the file, it will not be addressed.
It's just a
dead
non-issue.
Okay. All right, thank you. The next one on the agenda then is Alicia's compensation for, she's been doing the interim director at Hendersonville for almost a month. And so she's basically doing 2 jobs. The last budget transfer that we saved for this point is to discuss compensating her for doing the interim job. So do I have a motion to get that discussion on the floor?
Yes.
Diane makes the motion,
Second.
Joanna seconds. Okay. Diane does have a copy of the salary schedule, if we want to look at that. She also has another, we can look at the salary schedule, she also has another proposal from budget.
Yeah, currently Alicia is, as an operations manager, is what she's classified as now, is making $31,717, basically. The salary for Hendersonville's director was $55. There is $8,000 left in the library system account right now for this remaining year for payroll.
Oh.
Okay? That has nothing to do with any of the other budget transfers. We could give her basically a one-time increase that would get her through the rest of this year, and I would propose that it be retroactive to March 15th. And then by that time, come the new budget year, you should have hopefully have hired a new director, and if she is successful, I know she plans to apply, then she would be moved permanently to a new rate.
Or whoever.
Or whoever it is.
Or whoever it is. If she is not the chosen person, then her rate would go back to what it currently is, plus any COLA increase that was given by the Budget Committee for fiscal year 2024.
Okay, so is there anything as far as paperwork on the
Yeah,
budget?
we will have to
The
do it.
last
The
one.
last
Yeah.
budget
The last
transfer in
page.
that packet.
Is the sheet, but it doesn't have a dollar amount because we've not yet discussed it.
So, Diane, tell me that again, if it's a one-time, why,
Well,
why does
it
it
wouldn't
need to
be
be
one-
retroactive?
It would go to her salary, but we would make it retroactive, so she would then become, if we used whatever was left, she would go back to 39,717. She would be her new
39 or
annual pay
31?
rate, even though it's gonna get prorated, because it's not a full year. But we would add that to her salary,
She put it back here.
which would then be a new hourly rate until the end of the year.
So.
And
The
it
end
was
of the
only-
fiscal year.
This
Not the
fiscal-
fiscal, end of the
year.
budget year.
In the
Yes.
budget
Yes.
year.
June
Yes.
30th.
Yes, June 30th.
And all. So with the money that's there, you look at it, prorate it to the hourly rate, go back, make it retroactive
To make
until the end of the
March
budget year.
15th, and
Okay.
however that falls. The only thing is that she's very deserving of that because she's holding down two jobs.
Mhm.
And this still wouldn't bring her up to what the current managers are making. But it's something, or if you want to raise her up to what the current manager was making.
But at this point, you know,
But
there's
at
no
this point,
experience there.
Then if she's not.
But by the end of the budget year, there will be some experience.
She's
You can
getting lots
take
of
that-
experience.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can take that,
She's-
you can take that into
Yeah.
account.
Okay, so 8,000.
And it's what we have in the
Library system.
library system, what's left in the library system account that is payroll, in the payroll.
So that moves her from what to what annually?
Moves her from 31,717 to 39,717.
And the current directors get what?
The current director gets 49.
I thought it was 55. Yeah.
Well, the current director at Hendersonville gets 55.
Yeah.
But the
The other
lower
ones
Yeah,
get.
the lowest get.
The
49.
range.
Because it was a senior position, it was the, actually.
Right, and,
Right, as a senior.
and right now, we don't have any senior
Correct.
directors.
No.
So they're all gonna go,
So,
They're all gonna go
yeah,
to
we're
rate
looking at
49.
directors.
Okay,
So,
so she would go from 31 to 39, but the current director is 49.
The current director at Hendersonville at the time was 55.
I know,
The
but
rest of
but
them are
yes.
but you're looking at the lower end of the range,
is 49.
yeah.
Now, we could raise her to 49 because
There is,
we're not
you know,
paying
the
hourly.
MOE thing.
Well, number one, where's the money coming from? But number two, you know, right now it's an interim position. I would be
Yeah.
reluctant to set a precedent to
Right.
do that.
That's why I suggested what was left in the library system account.
My only concern about that is that she is the interim, so she's actually doing two jobs. So whereas the library director would only be doing one job and then they would have a manager of operations, whereas she's actually doing
Both.
everything. So, and, you know, personnel committee, I mean, it could take a while till we find a director. I don't don't know, I'm kind of feeling that if she's gonna step into that role and take two, that she needs to be paid for that role.
Well, and there is.
Or
money
at least
to
more,
do that.
you know, the 8,000 is great, but she's, I mean,
Well,
I don't know if
there's
you've been
money.
there, she's working her little tail off.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
why she couldn't even be here today.
I mean, and there's money in there because we're no longer paying Alan. So
Mhm.
basically, that's where the money could come from, strictly out of the director's line, and then that 8,000 would just kind of wash away
Okay.
at the end of the year.
Yeah, it's gonna be gone at the end of the fiscal year.
The only
I
thing that
wanna
I want to
transfer.
caution you about, and I don't have a necessarily opinion about this, but if she is not the successful candidate to be the director, this has to be put in writing, and I would look to you, that this is temporary until the final decision is made on who the director is. If she's not the successful candidate, then she would go back to the current salary of an operations manager. So there's a big gap between those two. And it's up to you to decide how you want to handle that. I do agree with you that she is very, very just, because she's working her butt off and she's not taking lunches a lot of days, and I said, you cannot keep doing that.
Yeah.
And
She has to hire 6 people right now. So
Mhm.
she's doing a lot.
She's doing a lot. And so, I think she needs to be treated fairly.
I mean, and I don't see why we couldn't put it in writing somewhere. I mean, is that, I'm gonna ask the law director here. Would that be something that could be put in, like this is interim, that, you know, this.
Well, I mean, y'all are getting the cart in front of the horse here. You get it reduced down to that, we can talk, but y'all really don't even have a game plan on how you're gonna deal with this with her holding 2 jobs, but if you come to me with math and say, this is interim, this is what everybody's approved, yeah, we can create something as far as a contract that outlines the terms of it.
Okay, so if we come to you and say, hey, we're gonna, right now, as interim director, we're gonna put you at $49,000, which is the director of libraries.
That's not what I heard.
No, that's old system, that's senior director. We dissolved that system right now. So, if we put her at $49,000 and we say.
49,298.
49.
But how can you?
Because we're not paying the old director
But
anymore.
do you have enough money left to bump her up to that?
Yeah, because we're no longer paying Alan Morales, who was the director, and he was at 55.
His salary's being unused.
So his salary is
So
being used.
you're
to
bringing
bump
her up to the
49
lower
to
director
98.
scale
Yes.
as an interim.
Yes.
Yes.
Then what is an interim? If you're gonna pay an interim the same as a director, I think you've got a problem right out of the gate.
Okay.
Well, she's serving as the director right now.
That's hence interim, I get that, but I've never seen
But the term
anything in this
interim
county
is-
where an interim employee got paid the same as if they were they were that person. So that's something you're gonna have to come to terms with there. And I understand how work she is, but would you pay the director more to have to fill in if she quit?
Would you
No.
pay what?
So if he's
Yeah.
doing 2
Oh,
jobs,
that
so
is
it's
true.
the same scenario,
Okay.
just in reverse.
I hear you. Okay. You're right. Okay. Well, I mean, I'm for the 8,000.
That would be the
Yeah,
easiest,
I think
cleanest
so.
way to go.
Sure.
And then, we do need to get this ball rolling as quickly as we can
Of course.
to get that, because I'm also worried about, it's not only the end of the fiscal year, but June starts the reading program. And you talk about, I mean, they're gonna be just crazy, and you've got kids in, I mean, that's gonna be a hardship. So we do need to get this ball rolling, so we can get everybody that needs a spot that's advertising, because there are other spots open in the county. They all need to be filled, because June is that
Yeah.
month where everybody is
Yeah,
overworked.
I do have to say that I mean, I talk with her on a regular basis, and she does feel confident that as long as we get the positions filled, that she's gonna be good for right now. So she does feel very confident in that.
and all, so.
Okay. Okay.
And I understand that that ball is rolling along
Yeah,
very well.
yeah, so,
Okay.
all right.
So the
8,000.
easiest thing is to have a motion to use that money from the
Okay.
system. So I'll entertain a motion.
I motion,
Okay,
Motion for $8,000 for the interim
okay.
director.
So
Now,
do you want Debbie to make the motion and you second
Sure.
it? 'Cause I heard the
Yes.
words.
Yep.
So Debbie makes the motion, Joanne seconds. Diane, did you want to have something?
The only thing I want to remind everybody is since this is salary, it has to go to the budget committee in May. And so that's why I was so
And
strong
they do,
about.
will the COLA be figured in on that, or is it?
No,
So
no,
that will have to be in addition to?
no.
Or
it'll
she's
just be-
already
no,
meeting
she's-
that, she's meeting that.
Yeah,
Okay.
it'll just be strictly the 8,000,
Okay.
and I think there's a few extra dollars there,
Okay.
8,032 or something, but that's why I was proposing that it be retroactive to March 15th, because we're delaying this until May.
Okay.
But now, to clarify, it will go before the budget,
Committee in May.
May, okay.
and can I amend, am I allowed to amend? I want to make sure that it goes, when she gets it, it
Yes,
goes
it says
retroactive.
yes.
Okay.
March
That's why I
Okay, good.
clarified.
I just
Right,
want to make
yeah.
sure. All right.
Yeah, and I'll have to work with finance to figure out how they do that. but-
And here is, we have zeros on this, but
Right.
you have permission to work on that because it will come before us.
The May, well, no, because
It
it'll
won't.
be, no, because it'll be the second Monday is the budget committee, and we meet the second Wednesday.
That's right, they'll meet on the 8th, we meet on the 10th, okay.
But we've discussed what
But
we're
we,
doing and agreed.
we've
Yes.
agreed.
Do we need to vote?
We've got a motion
We
and
need to vote.
and we're gonna vote on that. But I see the zero, so I wanna know what that's gonna look like. When we do. Okay, all in
If
favor?
I can make a suggestion,
Yes,
please restate what it is everybody's voting on.
okay, Debbie,
Right, make a motion to give the interim director at Hendersonville $8,000 more. Retroactive to what?
March
May?
15th.
March.
And that would cover through June 30th.
Correct.
Yeah, thank you, thank you.
All right.
okay, she's been restated, you're still gonna
I'm still
second
seconding
that.
it, yeah.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passed. Now, on to the bylaws.
Can I make a motion?
Yes.
Bylaws? I make a motion that we table this until May,
Okay,
so that we can take a look at the changes that were brought amongst the members that I incorporated in this. And then, and it's already almost 20 till 5.
yeah.
So
On these two packets that we have, I think we've got to understand what we're looking at. So you make a motion to table it, but we need to explain it. We need to have a discussion on explaining how these two pieces
There's a motion
are
to
gonna
table.
look at. Oh, there's a motion to table. Do I have a second? So we've
I'm
got-
not sure what we're motioning for, though.
Okay, we're
Okay.
motioning to table the discussion of the bylaws until May, so that we have more time to look at this. And then also in May, we'll have more time to discuss it since it's already 20 till 5. But,
Are you sure? Because,
mhm.
are you sure when you come back to us in May, it's gonna be a full agenda because it's a regular meeting?
Mhm.
The directors will be here, they will have their reports. It will be a full, regular meeting with a full agenda.
Can we start the conversation today since we're here?
There's a motion to table, we need to have a second,
Okay.
that's the order of
Okay.
business right now.
So, do I have a second to table?
Okay.
Okay, so now, do I have a motion to start a discussion on the bylaws?
Yes.
Diane, do I have a second
And
for
I'll
that?
second, and
Okay.
then we just have to decide how long we're going to go, whether it's based
Okay.
on time
We're
or.
not gonna vote today.
There's,
Well, can we just have maybe an overview of what, I mean, I looked at both of them. and
Right,
I think you're
uh-huh.
competent enough to
Yeah.
look at the last ones in the,
Yeah.
so if you can just give us an overview.
Motion to
of
The
what
discuss.
motion is to discuss.
Okay.
So
Is there-
Diane made the motion,
And I
Ruth
seconded.
seconded.
Okay.
To
And
discuss.
And then-
then we have to
Yes.
vote.
Vote on it.
Okay.
Okay, so all those in favor
Favor
to
say aye.
discuss it?
Opposed? Okay.
Alright,
The
so-
first thing I want,
Do you want me to explain this?
Well, I think our
Yeah.
discussion should basically be just the highlights of any changes.
but one of these came out of the bylaws committee, what they voted on, what they've already voted on to present to you. The second one, and they look just alike. I mean, not in the body, in the way they're labeled. Formatted and everything. These are the suggestions that Joanna received by email, verbally, or whatever. So they look just alike. So we've got to be able to keep that separate, because if you get into the body, they are different.
Yes. Yes.
So, we've got to keep that separate so we know what we're talking about when we read from one of those. Okay,
Do you want me to go through the changes that were made?
the changes that are proposed,
Yes.
okay. Quickly,
So-
and then, we'll see. Okay,
Okay. So, hold on a second, this one is not mine.
Okay.
I don't know what that is. So, okay, so, this, I don't know. So the authority, is, the difference was the Library Board of Trustees was created by the Tennessee State Legislature. The board has the authority to direct all the affairs of the library, including the authority to appoint. The library board makes, so what I took out of there was under Sumner County Board of County Commission Oversight, yes.
under the direction,
Yes.
and, so on the master, you've taken that sentence out.
Yes,
Okay,
because under state law, we actually don't have the oversight of the County Board of County Commissioners. We're not under their oversight. Mm-mm.
not
We're
according-
appointed, but we're not under their, they have no influence on anything that we decide. So
Here-
that is why
here
I
it
take
is.
that.
Here's the TCA if you need it. Okay. Yeah, that's the one that's the
Okay.
one that's been posted.
Yes. So that's why I took that out.
Okay.
So, I took out, the Gallatin, two from Gallatin, two from Portland, Hendersonville, and all that. Because in all honesty, we have a fiduciary responsibility to oversee all of the libraries. And, in saying that, oh, someone has to be from, oversees Gallatin or Portland or anything like that, and then there's at-large, in all honesty, we all should be going to all of these libraries, and we should all be creating
I don't like the word oversee.
What?
Represent.
Okay, but we should all be representing them all at the same time. So, to me, if you say, oh, well, there's two from Gallatin, they're the representatives, it might make the other members go, well, I don't need to go to Gallatin because, I'm not a really representative. So, in my opinion, I believe that taking that out makes it more of a responsibility for everyone to make sure that they go and see the needs of every library. And no other bylaw that I saw divided it up amongst that. So,
I still think it's important that you have
Representatives from all over the county.
If at all possible, maybe put it in there, every effort would be made, because it does make a difference to me that this is I'm support everybody, okay, absolutely, that's what the board's for. But you're vested, that's, I don't know, I just think it's important to have somebody that knows the people that can hop in there every day. I personally can't come to Hendersonville every day, maybe not even once a week, maybe once a month, but I'm in Portland Library a lot because it's there in my community. But I know from communications, hopefully, that we know what's going on with the libraries and they're letting us know. And that's where maybe the communication needs to be a little bit
Well, I know the
more.
residents, I've heard, the residents of Sumner County have expressed to the commissioners that they want to see that there's representation from all the areas. And at least in our bylaws, when it's divided like this, it does show that there's representation for each library. I mean, I could go either way, but I do know that that has been a concern of the residents in Sumner
Yeah,
County.
and if you're looking at here are two very viable candidates that would like to be on the library board, and they're going, okay, well, they live in Portland, maybe that would be good, or they live in Gallatin, that, I don't know, that just kind of, maybe that's the old school from where I'm from, perhaps, but I just kind of see it that way, that if at all possible, try to have somebody that is local to that community, if possible.
And I
mean, instead of everybody being, I mean, that's great from Hendersonville.
No.
I mean, it probably wouldn't happen that way, but, you know, it's just a possibility. Millerfield would be, I'm sure, love to have somebody, if that's possible. Now, maybe he's not done anywhere else in bylaws, but it's seemed to work well before.
According to our bylaws right now, and the old bylaws as well, residency is not required to obtain a
No.
seat.
So that's fine.
So that's,
I understand that, but if it's possible,
yes.
you know, can you add that, what was wrong with this? So, you know, that's just.
Well,
Let me ask you
whatever.
this. If it's in the master copy that came out of the bylaws committee that they voted on, if we change it, I mean, we can take it out now and vote on it at the end, right? Or we can decide, how do we decide whether we take it out or whether we leave it?
Well, we're
In this
The
discussion.
committee's job's to make the whole board's life easier by
Okay,
having
so
gone
that's
through
the way
doing the
it came-
work, and
so
then you
that's the
all
way it came out of
ultimately vote
committee.
on it.
So unless, I think it all stayed that way. That's the way it came out of committee and it was voted on.
Well, we can decide to keep it or not. But also, one of the things that I added in there, because it was brought up to me, is that it doesn't even say that it has to be a Sumner County resident. So I put residency in Sumner County is required.
And what's hard about that is the fact that Millersville doesn't have a post office and they have Goulitsville addresses,
Right.
which crosses into Metro and Sumner County. So how do you determine that?
Because they have to be a Sumner County resident.
Okay. Okay.
If our county dollars are supporting the Millersville Library, then it has to be a Sumner County resident.
But it says who are residents of Sumner County.
You're looking at the new one.
I'm looking at both of them.
The other
The
one
one that
doesn't
came
say
out of that.
Oh, no.
old one
The
says
board,
residency.
the old one says, the board shall be composed of 11 members who are residents of Sumner County.
Right.
And appointed and approved by the Sumner County Board of Commissioners. That's the master.
Right.
That's what was there originally.
Yeah, that first sentence.
Yeah, it came out of there.
Oh,
If you've got,
okay. I didn't
you've got it
see
twice, so we
Okay,
don't
I got
have.
it twice.
Yeah,
So we can take out that.
you can
Okay.
take out that
Take
whole
out the
sentence
second.
I don't know
because it's
why
twice.
I completely overlooked that. Okay.
So then, do we want to include something about, I don't know if we, you know, if wishes were fishes, beggars would eat. But if you say something about, that every effort shall be made to make sure that the board represents the various library communities or areas or cities or something, because if you're not saying, you know, 2 from Gallatin, 2 from Portland, which I think can be limiting, but I think we don't want to just say we're not going to, that they're responsible for all libraries. However, there will be every effort made to appoint somebody who is from each of the library areas or something.
We are
I
so
mean-
diverse And you have so many, each library serves their patrons in a different way. I think you've got to have somebody that understands where they're coming from.
So, while I get that, and just this whole like 2 from Gallatin, 2 from Portland, 2 from Hendersonville, 1 from Westmoreland, 1 from Millersville, I mean, and then 3 at large, like what does the 3 at large even do?
They can come, that way you get that across the county representation.
Okay.
I mean,
So-
you look
so
at a
then-
lot of Hendersonville, they've got wards that they elect their elected officials from, and then they have at large.
Yeah.
It's the same principle why you do that in a municipal election as why you would do that here.
Okay. But this isn't an election, and I mean, why doesn't Westmoreland have 2 people, and why doesn't Millersville have 2 people? Why isn't there just 1 at large?
Well,
So-
yeah, smaller communities.
Well, we've got
Smaller-
2 different numbers on
I-
this.
Oh, those,
This was the master, and this is not the same as, unless I'm looking.
that's an older, that's one we had to get,
Made the correct.
we had to get it
Yeah.
corrected. Yeah, that's an older
This
master.
is the.
This is the correct one.
Okay.
Yeah, we had so much trouble because your computer never would.
I know, it would.
And
I don't
it
know.
finally got, I
Yeah.
finally got the right copy, and I
Yeah.
finally got that posted on there where it had those numbers. Because it would say 3, but it had the number 2.
Yeah.
It wouldn't.
I also think that in putting these Gallatin, Portland, Hendersonville, since we have such a big county, what about someone who lives in White House or Bethpage that goes, I go to the library a whole lot, and I want to serve on the library board.
White House, White House has their own library. Now, some
No, I'm talking about
people-
Sumner County part of White House.
And all, but they usually go to, but they
The library's
could.
in Sumner County.
But
Yeah,
that,
library
a lot of
is in
those
Sumner
people
County.
have Cottontown
Well,
addresses too.
but
I
I'm
mean, you
just
just look
saying-
at Cottontown, you've got a Cottontown address that has nothing. I mean, So you look at their drawing areas,
Okay,
just like you would zoning. You look at their drawing areas,
okay.
which could include White House or Cottontown.
I just-
Bethpage going,
I just think putting 2, 2, 2, 1, 1, 1, it's, of course, we're gonna get people from all around Sumner County, but, it also pigeonholes people, and then, and the 2 people that are representatives from Gallatin, can they go to Portland? Can they?
Of course.
Of course. But what I'm just saying is that why don't we just have all of us represent all of them? I just think this pigeonholes it.
Well, there's 2 different things. There's who do you represent, and then where are you from? Which community do you live in? So one is the job duties, and then one is the residency. So if you're looking at where you want people on the board, what communities or what residences or cities or whatever the term is, what areas do you want to have on the board, that's fine, but anyone on the board then represents all of the locations and interacts with all the locations. That's 2 separate things in my mind.
I think the expectation is to interact with everyone.
Yes.
And all. But I think
And it
every
says
once in
that.
a while, you need a go-to person, if that knows the community or knows why the friends wanted to do something for Millie. Maybe if nobody knew who she ever was because we were all from somewhere else, then we wouldn't have said yes to that construction like we did because we knew. And somebody could speak to that.
I just think it muddies the water, so.
Well,
and-
it says, it's not cast in stone. You're not taking a tally, because right now we have no one from Westmoreland and one person from Gallatin. So, we're not tallying it, we're not keeping score. This is just a suggestion to get equal representation across the county.
Well, in the wording on this, though, it says shall be, so if it says
That
shall,
was gonna be my one suggestion, is change it to it is encouraged that.
or recommended,
Where?
right here. Right here.
Okay.
Shall be appointed,
Okay.
so. How about, can we do, it's recommended or suggested or?
Recommended that,
It is recommended
That you're-
members be appointed.
Shall,
yeah.
So mark out
members-
shall.
It is
and
recommended.
Start the sentence.
And then just put that paragraph back in there with the numbers for each library.
Right. Well, I'm working on the master, which has the numbers there.
Yeah,
On this.
yes,
You
I
guys
agree.
figure the wording on that, so members
It
shall
is
be
rec,
appointed.
so let me read it. It is recommended the members be appointed to represent the following areas in order that all parts of the county may be considered in the decision-making process. So that sentence is already there.
Right.
That's
And if we
fine.
left out the numbers, it doesn't make sense.
No.
If we left out the distribution.
Well,
However,
that's
residency in a particular area is not required to obtain or retain
I would
a seat.
suggest that the first sentence there be changed. It says the members shall be appointed to represent the following areas in order that all parts of the county may be considered in the decision-making process. But the next sentence is contradictory in the sense that it says, however, residency in a particular area is not required to obtain or retain a seat. So those, one is mandatory, one is
Right,
suggestive.
so we want to get rid of the shall.
So I would address that issue.
So
right-
it is recommended
right here.
that members
It
be
is
appointed to
recommended
represent the
the
following
members
areas.
be appointed to represent the following areas.
Right.
Okay, all right, so,
I'm just saying the current draft that I have here, it says shall and then.
yeah, I
change it to
just marked out
recommended.
shall,
Okay,
and it is recommended the members be appointed.
okay, I got it.
Is that what, okay.
So we're going back to the master one.
Yes,
Instead
right.
of shall, it is recommended that the members.
Right, because the master's what we vote, what came out of committee.
Right.
So that's what has to be, that's what we have to vote on at the end of the day.
I agree.
Okay. All right,
All right, keep going.
keep going.
All right,
Were there any changes under terms?
now,
No changes there, so we can move on to duties.
the library board has the power and duty. Oh, I put in the Tennessee code annotated in there, which is.
Where is that?
Under number AA, where it's
Okay.
actually the number.
Okay, you just included the number.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna put TCA 103104, right there.
Yes.
Okay.
I want to ask a question.
Okay.
I'd recommend if you're gonna either have TCA or Tennessee code annotated, either one is fine.
Oh, yeah, that's double. I see what you're.
Well, you need to put them one in parentheses. Because if you're gonna use TCA somewhere else, you need to have it defined, so.
Or you can do it that way, that's fine.
Well, I took out state laws, I put TCA, I took out state laws, because TCA and then,
Okay, you've got Tennessee code annotated TCA. Are you telling me that we need one or the other, but not necessarily both? Is that what you're
I
saying?
just put TCA in parentheses.
Okay.
What you can do is you just Tennessee code annotated, parentheses.
TCA,
and that-
okay.
So future presence in the document will be
and take out,
fine.
and take out
There you
state
go.
laws.
Right. Yeah, the word laws is, I've taken it out of the master copy.
Yes.
Can I ask
Okay.
a question about that paragraph? Because I understand about the Tennessee annotated
Right.
code. But then it goes, and local community standards set forth by the Sumner County Commissioners. But yet before.
What kind of local community standards would not?
Well, that was what it was in there before, so.
I mean, it
Yeah.
wasn't there before, but then you
Right.
say that the commissioners have no oversight to us.
So can we strike that?
So I'm just
So,
confused.
well, they also have appointed, they appoint us as well, and so they can give expectations to us.
But yet they have no oversight.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that contradictory?
Well,
Am I missing
it's
something?
a partnership. I mean,
Yeah, it's
it's
a
gotta be.
partnership, exactly. So the other one was just that they can't make us make any laws or rules or policies, but it is a partnership with the county commissioners. And that's where that came in.
Just like we have to work with them as far
Yeah.
as the budget and
Well, I
the
agree.
criteria.
I just
and that.
didn't want it to be contradictory that we took it out in one place and then we have it here. I want things to be.
Yeah, no, that's just showing that the partnership is there, like a budget, and we have to, you
Yeah,
know,
I
all
agree.
that stuff.
Yeah. Well, we have to follow their resolutions, whatever they
Yep,
pass.
exactly.
For that,
Yeah.
okay. Would there be a better word than standards?
I just looked in, that's what I looked in the library laws, was community standards, so that's why I put it in there.
But would there be a better word?
It's, to me, it explains itself away, so I
Yeah.
don't have a problem with it.
Okay. All right, what other changes on this? You know, because if the master's fine and you didn't, there were no suggested changes.
On her, if you've got the master, just so you know, on A and then number D, there needs to be a space after the word regular and the comma on the updated version. It's in the original master, but I just want to make sure in what you're looking at.
Okay.
You see
yeah.
that, where there's not a space after
Right.
the comma? Okay.
Yeah.
And it's not a change, and it's understood, but whenever we meet as a library board, we can only conduct business when we have a quorum present. That is
Right.
correct, right?
Is that, yes?
Well,
is that
I mean, it
stated?
doesn't say, it just says.
But that's
in C
understood under
that
TCA.
it's
I believe it's in
understood,
there
right?
somewhere.
It's in there somewhere.
Well, I mean, it says, termination of director shall be responsible to the library board by majority vote of members present, but it's just understood that we're not gonna be meeting unless there's a quorum.
Of course,
Okay.
yes. Yep.
And then under D, add a comma after the Article 3, Section C,
Okay.
after a 3 comma.
Okay. Beverly?
I would like to add, on this C, that says termination of directors shall be responsibility of the board by majority vote of members, and get rid of present. And I would also like to have something added, and the attorneys can tell me if I may be wrong. A hearing shall be held by the personnel committee should a director be facing termination. I just think we need to do it differently.
It's up to you guys if you want to do it like that.
We can, I mean, we have that, we can do that?
Well, that's
how
gonna
does
be,
that-
isn't that up to the personnel committee
How does
to
that
set
fall
the?
under
Yeah.
the law?
That's gonna be a personnel policy if we decide to do that, because,
So you're saying put it under the personnel?
if we wanna put in the policies for personnel.
I would like to do it somewhere.
Okay, now, on the sheet, one of the other points she made was termination of directors shall be the responsibility of the board by major vote of members. She wanted present to strike. Is that a possibility, or is that under, how do you know?
I'm not understanding the
Okay.
question.
She wants under A and then C.
By
she wants
majority
the
vote of
word-
the members. Well, right now, we're only 7, but where it can be up to 11. So the majority under 11 is different from the majority under the members present, from the members that show up. And we do have attendance policy addressed later on in this document. But what's the law on that? Can that be done?
Well, let me first ask this, on page 5, the one I'm looking at, under B, it says, or sub B, a quorum of 6 members must be present in person to conduct business.
What,
So.
is that page 2?
Page 5.
Page 5.
Under Article 5 meetings,
Is that under,
regular meetings and quorum, it's Article 5 meetings, A, B.
And even just to conduct business, there's gotta be at least 6 board members. If that same 6 satisfies any of your requirements here, I don't see.
you can't, it doesn't matter?
The need to start dissecting this and
Okay.
to arbitrarily insert how many you need for this, how many you need for that. Either you got a quorum to do business or you don't.
Okay,
So 6 people could decide.
If that's what you want it to be.
okay, and if that's,
Yeah.
you just gotta make sure the language here matches the language on page 5, I mean, the understanding.
Yes.
Well, and maybe there's a problem with this, because we're supposed to have 11, but we only have 7.
7.
And so this number 6 was based on a full library board of 11. Right now, we have 7, so a majority would be 4.
Not what it says there.
No, I know, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, but
The fact y'all are operating under the number you're supposed to have, y'all are gonna have to figure out a way. You've gotta do these bylaws as if you're running business as usual.
So you've gotta assume we're running business with 11,
Yep.
because that's what it says.
Right.
That's what this is all about.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
the word present needs to be there, or it doesn't need to be there.
It's covered.
There's no
It's
reason to
covered.
not take it away because
Okay.
it's quorum, yes.
Yeah, that's all we're doing is
Okay.
deciding if there is a quorum to conduct business.
Yeah. Compensation, no compensation.
So you're at B, that hasn't changed, right? Okay,
And
C,
then
attendance.
Attendance, this changed a little bit. Okay, so I took out under advice to take out all of the whole resignation stuff because it made it, and Diane even mentioned it's like kind of long and everything like that. So it's just like, look, we have 6 times a year that you meet. If you miss 2 consecutive meetings or 3 meetings a year, you're out. Like, that's just done, you know, and so you can.
Without prior notice of conflict, I see that.
Correct.
Yeah.
So.
Will be
Which is
immediately
more.
removed from the library board.
Yep.
This
Is there
is
a way
the
that we
old
can
and then
just
this
get
is the
to the
new, so we're
point
comparing
instead of
them.
giving all these, I
So,
wouldn't know if I
okay.
was
You'll
meeting
notice that
compliance
I'm-
or not with attendance, because this
Yeah.
Well,
So
if
this
you
one
look at
says
the
6
new
times a
one, if
year,
you look at the new
bi-monthly,
one,
that's
that's
the
why
same.
it's
And then it
way
goes
more
from
concise.
here.
Okay, I see.
Library-
I made it a lot more concise.
Yes,
One,
you've got the updated
the
one.
library board meetings, is, you know, you miss 2 consecutives or 3 meetings, you're out, that's it.
Right.
The committees, if you meet 4 times a year, you're out. Roundtable, I took the attendance off of that because we had decided that the roundtable is more of a study. It's more of like a, hey, we have some things that we want to talk about. There's no voting going to happen on that or anything like that.
So there's no attendance policy for that.
So I took the attendance policy off of that because I was like, well, we kind of added those as kind of like more things that have the community come. And then, but in the special called meetings though, I made that more strict in the sense of if you miss those, it's like missing a regular meeting.
I agree.
Yeah. So so that's what I did is I made that that was like a regular meeting because you got to make it a special called meeting. I mean, we have them pretty.
So without prior notice of conflict covers those excused absences.
Correct.
Okay. And so on the master, are you, is there anything you reworded?
I took a whole bunch of stuff out.
I know you took a bunch out, but,
I said.
so I'm trying to go through and mark out. Yeah, because we've got to get it on the master.
Okay, what I can do is in the attendance, I can go through and give you guys the, give the Word document of everything that got slashed. How's that?
There's
And I'll highlight
tracking,
it.
there's tracking in the Word document
Yes.
that'll show changes that are made.
Yep, and
Whether
I can
it's
send that to you.
deleted or changed or edited or whatever.
I've got a quick question on
Yes.
C. The very first
Let's
sentence
see. Which,
under C, attendance.
okay.
Tell me what you think that means.
The first,
Regular meetings shall be referred to meetings that have voting rights outside of special called meetings.
I cannot wrap my brain around that. What are you trying to say here?
And we were just trying to put basically what a regular meeting is different from a special called meeting.
CA.
Oh, okay.
We were just trying to think of some verbiage.
Julia,
Because,
can you take the regular meetings for attendance, can you take regular and combine that with special call? Because it sounds like they've got the same stipulations of when you need to attend. I mean, can we wrap that together to make this even shorter? Because there really shouldn't be any difference in whether or not you need to attend or not, and if you're excused.
So just put regular / special called meetings shall refer to meetings that have voting rights?
Yes.
Can you
What
just
are your
mark
thoughts
out
on that?
regular and say meetings? All meetings shall be.
Well, then that.
So
That
that's
have
what's
voting
missing
rights.
is the
Well,
word
but that have
as.
voting rights
Okay,
eliminate your round
tell me what you
table.
mean.
Read that again, 'cause that's what's throwing me grammatically. I can't make sense of that sentence.
Referred as to meetings that have voting rights outside of special.
You've got regular meetings shall be referred to meetings that
Oh,
have.
okay, I see what you're
So
saying.
what's it supposed to
Referred
say?
as to meetings, yes.
Well, you don't need
Referred to
referred
as.
referred to
Okay.
as,
Okay.
sorry, as meetings that have voting rights.
That
Sorry.
makes sense, okay.
And do what?
And then what
Regular
about the outside of
meetings.
special
Okay.
called meetings?
So should we, so are you saying, Diane, to regular meetings and special called meetings shall be referred to as meetings that have voting rights?
Yes, because we can vote in either one of
Regular
them.
meetings.
Okay, so you want me
And
to
special
combine
call.
those? Okay.
Yeah.
So regular and special called.
Shall be referred to
And,
at,
oh, I got it, Diane. I mean, Jackie.
yeah,
Because they
Wrong one.
both have the same requirements for
Yeah.
attendance.
right. But I'm trying to,
You gotta go.
Yeah.
what is it
Can
you're
we-
saying?
Okay, I make a motion that we table this till May because Debbie has to leave.
A second.
Can we
So-
keep the rest of us, can we keep going?
If.
Well, it's already
typically-
5:15. I thought we were supposed to be out of here at a certain time.
They went home at 4:30, I mean, went at 4:30. So we have a motion to table in a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I have 3, 4.
We're voting
To table this, pick up in May on C attendance, right?
But we can't continue, can we, if we have people that leave, or does it matter once you've established a quorum if somebody leaves? Does that matter? Does it matter?
Well, we still have
Well,
6.
Well,
So we can
Joanna's not leaving, okay.
But we have a motion to table in a second.
You gotta deal with the motion,
Yeah.
but it's up to you all how you wanna proceed from here, cause you're not voting on it,
Yeah.
right?
In favor to
Yeah.
table, raise your hand. So, 3,
I
okay,
mean, I don't,
4, I don't care.
I'll stay if we gotta stay and I'll.
And all,
if we gotta
but
leave.
I had 4, 5, and I'm fine with it, as long as we pick up with attendance there.
Yeah, and what I can do is what I'll do.
Okay, so
Okay.
it's 5,
Yeah,
6,
and
7. We got it. Go ahead.
what I'm gonna do is I'm going to send you guys what changes were made from the master
Okay.
to this one. Does that make sense? So you
Yes,
guys
just
can look
make,
at it.
would you
over the
label
next-
it something else?
Yes.
Do not give it the same
I won't.
headline.
I'll put
Give
it
us something else so we can
You
go
can-
And then-
side by
You can
side.
do the watermark that says draft on it, you know how to do that?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep, so I'll do that, and then y'all
And then we
look
can
at
see
it.
what's changed.
Yep, and we can even email after it
And
all
go
this
through
stuff
that,
all
and
this
then
stuff.
when we get to discuss, like, it'll be okay.
Be smoother.
Do I have a motion to adjourn? Real quick, got Debbie made the motion, Joanna seconded.
Second.
All in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.